Fancy a budget rifle that doesn't need PCP equipment or CO2 and isn't a Springer? Watch on. Hello and welcome to AAR on Air. This week it's another budget gun. Blimey. This time from Stinger. And this time it's a pump with single shot tray and magazine loading system. And it won't break the bank. Oh! And it has a familiar ring to it as well. Never let it be said we don't find different guns or budget guns on this channel. And sometimes we find different budget guns. Let's take a close look at this Stinger Marte. Marte? However you pronounce it, shall we? It is a real beechwood stock and metal finish. It tips the scales at 2.33 kilograms or just over £5 with an overall length of around 98 centimetres or 38.5 inches. The barrel is rifled and around 55 centimetres long, so I'm hopeful of some decent accuracy a little later. It does come with open front plastic sights, and that finishes the barrel, so there's no thread for a silencer. So it's not going to be ideal if you're looking to take several shots in succession at that pesky rabbit that you've been trying to track down. That front sight matches up with an adjustable rear 3/4 of the way down the barrel. This is adjustable for windage and elevation. Now it's worth noting that this is a fully functional sighting system. But remember, this is a budget gun. I will be adding a scope to this later on in the accuracy testing, which can be done via the small dovetail rail at the rear. The stock is handed and is really designed for right-handers, but the shaping isn't too heavy or bold, and I think left-handers will be able to use it without too much issue at all. The quality of the stock is really very good and not what you would expect from a budget rifle. They have really done a nice job of it, with no rough edges or faults anywhere to be seen. The stippling on the grip is really very nicely done and nice and traditional. It is quite slim overall and comfortable with a lovely feel of the quality starter gun, by which I mean a first gun, not something that you use at the Olympics. There is a rubberized butt pad at the end to add a level of comfort to the whole thing. The trigger is metal and is a two-stage item. It has a first stage that is what I would call adequate, and you will soon find yourself into the second stage. The safety is a push-through in front of the trigger, and from left to right for safety, and from right to left to drop it into fire. It has a defined click to it, which is very reassuring, and there is a red indicator to show you when you're in fire. The action is a bolt action and is quite firm and yet surprisingly smooth. There is a single shot tray and a multi-shot 7-round magazine in this .22 caliber version. Now we come to the trick part of this super slim rifle, the pump action. The first thing to do is cock the gun with that bolt action, then pull away the front stock from the rifle. Then you need to start pumping, and if you can get any further than 4 pumps, then you've been working out. When you do pop the action back into the lock position, watch your hand and keep it out of the way, because the front stock when it returns firmly to the body, and when I say firmly I mean watch it doesn't bite. Power levels, well, it's purely down to the number of pumps. I used standard 15.89 grain pellets, and with one pump it saw 220 feet per second, which is 1.71 foot-pounds or 2.32 joules. With two pumps it saw 384 feet per second, which is 5.2 foot-pounds or 7.06 joules. With three pumps it saw 475 feet per second, which is 7.96 foot-pounds or 10.8 joules. With four pumps, that went up to 513 feet per second, which is 9.29 foot-pounds or 12.59 joules. And then I just about managed to get a fifth pump before my arm gave away, and it saw 580 feet per second, which is 11.87 foot-pounds or 16.1 joules. So, plenty of potential for power, but whether or not you can hit anything after all that effort is another thing. So let's find out, shall we? I've dropped a budget scope onto it, and I would say around 35 metres is about right for a reasonable test. Here goes. Nice day for it. Sun keeps coming in and going out, but hey, it's nice, it's warm, it's dry. It's British summer, so it can change. You get all four seasons in one day. Anyway, enough of the weather forecast. This is the pump action Stinger. I like it before it even starts. It's different. It is very, very slim. It shoulders quite nicely. It's not a bad little budget gun at all. It's ideally right-hander, but you wouldn't find too much difficulty to shoot it left. It's not that far off. And I'm not going to repeat on anything that we've already said. What I have done though is I've put on a cheap scope just to give me a better chance on the eyesight, and all I've done is I've zeroed it in approximately as usual, because the bit we're interested in is not how well I can zero a scope, but how it can group. So is it continuous, is it consistent rather, is it accurate? Now what I've got to do is I've also got to pump it the same amount of times to try and make sure I've got the same level of power. So I'm not going to be shooting 30, 40, 50 rounds down range, because I don't think I've got it in me, to be fair. I don't know why I've sort of got all these brake barrels and springers. Anyway, there you go. So what we're going to do is, I don't know, I'll probably try and give it 2, maybe 3 for each shot. See how we go. 15.89 grain pellets that I'm putting in, because this is a 2.2 version. And I've got some already preloaded in the magazine, so I'll shoot those. But I might be tempted to shoot off the single shot tray, because you're likely to get better results that way, if you ask me. The only thing you've got to do with this is to shoot it, to get it to pump, because otherwise it just lets all the air out. First thing you've got to do is cock it, then break that. 1, 2, and it does get progressively stiffer, like that. Keep the palm of your hands out. So, somebody after me, sorry. Keep the palm of your hand out the way, because otherwise it will bite you. And I know that, because it bit me the first time I picked it up. So, once we've done that, then we can drop the ammunition in and shoot down range. Let's give it a go, shall we? There's another one in there. 1, 2, 3. Now, cock it first. Tell you what, let's put the single shot tray in. See how we go with that. 1, 2, 3. Oops, pellets everywhere. Single shot tray. Pull it out. Drop it in. Let's see if that's any better. I can see some dads encouraging the kids to have a go on this, and even the missus. And yeah, it's fun and it's paced, but he's going to be the one who's going to be doing all the work. I hope he realises that. Now I'm actually shooting this off the mil dots in the scope because it's actually wanting to shoot a little high, and me being more along the lines of getting the grouping, I've decided to shoot from the mil dots. So far it's not doing too bad. The issue I have is everything is trying to eat me today out here in the paddock. There we go. Now it's not bad because you're actually getting a bit of a workout at the same time. Now this, in theory, we should be getting around 7 or 8 foot-pounds, which for a bit of target work at this range is absolutely fine. I think we're kind of getting the idea. It is fun. I'm out of breath. Like I said, you think you're going to do a lot of pumping on this and shooting time and time and time and time again. You're not. Your accuracy is going to fall off if you're wanting to just keep going at it, keep going at it. You know what? You should have bought PCP. But it's fun. Come on, it's fun. It's a nice day. Yeah, you've got to do a bit of exercise on it, but include the family. If you've got young kids, just give it the one pump, get it a bit closer, get the target a bit closer. Spot on. I mean, this scope is one I've just left or found lying around. I was after a Cerato, but I can't see as I've got one knocking about because they're a good little scope. And again, just about as tiny. This is just some nondescript thing, but it seems to have done it. It seems to have done the trick. So, yeah. Don't knock it. Don't knock it. It's a budget gun, but it's not bad. And you get a free workout with it as well. And if you don't cock it, you get that you just heard. It blows it out the top. So you've got to pull back, cock it, then work. Now it's in there. So you've got it. Must remember, pull back. Otherwise, you're going to be pumping all day for nothing. I quite like it. It's not too bad actually on accuracy. In fact, it's better than not too bad. It's really very good. It's only a basic rifle barrel, no silencer on it, but not too loud, even out here. Back to the studio. Now, that is fun. You know, people go on about why don't you trash your gun? Well, it's simple. This is a budget gun. And sure, you could call it against a high-end, super expensive item, but that isn't fair. As a standalone item, it is great fun, pretty accurate, and with the differing power levels, it can be used with all the family to teach them and introduce them to the sport. It can be used for a little target work, or plinking, or if you can pump it enough, even a spot of pest control. All for the low price of around £175 UK. You may prefer to use a scope, but it has open sights if your eyesight is better than mine. It's different. It's pretty well built. You could argue it could do with a better trigger, but do I need to remind you of that price? It can be used with the family, and above all, it's great fun. Hopefully, you've enjoyed this week's programme. If you have, please give us the old thumbs up, subscribe, share, click the old alarm bell, join in with this little lot. Don't forget the AAR website and merch, and the AAR news channel. A big thank you, as always, to the guys at Vector Air. They do seem to be on the lookout for some different stuff. The most important thank you, as always, goes to you guys for supporting the channel. Please, stay safe and shoot safe. Hopefully, I'll see you next week. Bye for now.